Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and we finally have an update on the wife's vehicle, or we will hopefully have an update on the wife's vehicle in today's video. We are taking her car in to get it checked out by Doug. He has a very busy schedule, so he hasn't had time over the last few weeks to be able to check it out. He finally has time this morning, and so hopefully, let's cross our fingers that it's not as bad as the previous Land Cruiser. If you don't know, the previous Land Cruiser we ended up selling because a lot of the stuff up above was corroded, and a lot of people actually commented that it was from the wrap. Corrosion doesn't happen that fast. I guess like in an extreme circumstance in a very humid place, very wet place, it could happen. Utah's a desert, it's dry. So whatever happened up there was in years in the making. And so if this is just as bad as the previous one, then again, it's going to be years in the making. And plus the airbag light on both of the vehicles popped up before the wrap stuff. So yeah, there's no way it was the wrap. A lot of people have commented that. But anyways, we're gonna take it in, we're gonna have Doug check it out, and hopefully it's not bad. Well folks, I just got the Land Cruiser back, and would you look at that? No airbag light. So we have a somewhat quick conclusion to today's video. Somewhat quick. I'll explain everything in today's video, and I will talk about whether or not we are going to be getting rid of the Land Cruiser with this, well, new update. However, before we get into that all-important Land Cruiser update, I have a much more important update for you guys, and that is this. As you can see, the grass is finally back. I finally got my sprinkler system fixed, so I was able to bring the grass back. Sadly, none of the clover that I planted really took. I was hoping to get clover in the lawn so that it wasn't so water intensive because, well, if you don't know, Utah has a bunch of water problems, and I'm trying to not be a part of the problem. But yes, mission failed successfully in a way because the lawn's back, but it's not back in the way that I was hoping it to be. But it is what it is. And I do suppose while I'm here at this house, I do have a request of you guys that are watching. If any of you work in Utah County and know how to build one of these things, a chicken coop, message me on Instagram, or I guess email me, whichever works best for you. Instagram's the best way to get hold of me personally. I have been looking for someone to build us a bigger coop than what we have currently, and I have not been able to find anyone. I thought that would be something that would be really easy to find, but apparently nobody really does it, or I'm sure people do it, it's just that I can't seem to find them. So if you work in Utah County, know how to build a chicken coop, call me. And speaking of chickens, we gotta let these little buggers out for the day. Hello! Time to be free. So let's now discuss the Land Cruiser issue. So this is the factory roof rail system here, and the whole airbag unit is actually underneath this part of the roof rail. So that's actually where Doug went underneath with the system. But this is what potentially caused issues. So basically there's this plate underneath that this attaches to, and then you have the airbag unit underneath that, and the wire that was attached to the unit was disconnected. Now, unlike the other Land Cruiser, it wasn't destroyed. So the other Land Cruiser, I shouldn't say destroyed, had a bunch of rust in this area, and there was a lot of corroding and everything. That wasn't the case with this. There wasn't any sort of leaks or anything into it, but it was still disconnected. And so we don't know exactly how it happened. Potentially some sort of movement from the plate underneath here could cause some sort of issue. Well, since I'm at the house with the giant black wall, I figured that we would just cap off the video with this as the background because it's always a good background. And it's better than me having to hold the camera for like 10 minutes while I try to figure out how to put the clips together. But anyways, Doug did fix the issue with the Land Cruiser. So the Land Cruiser is completely good to go. There's nothing wrong with it anymore because he reconnected the wires. And like I just said in the last clip, this isn't as big of an issue as it was with the last Land Cruiser. Again, the other Land Cruiser that we ended up selling had rust up there. There was corrosion with the wires, and it looked like something was wrong. And again, if that was the only thing in that Land Cruiser, we would have kept it, but that was on top of the fact that it drove a little bit weird, and it had a funky smell inside that just wouldn't go away. And so a lot of people suggested it might have been a flood vehicle, and again, the Carfax and everything was completely clean, and it was a Texas vehicle, so I mean, obviously you can have flood damage anywhere, but it was in a really dry part of Texas, and so I was kind of like, probably not gonna happen. But again, you never know. The desert, right? That's one of the places that floods the most. I shouldn't say the most often, but when it floods really, really badly. So yeah, this Land Cruiser is in much better condition than the other one. And again, the rest of the car, like, that's the whole story. The other car, the paint had a lot more wear and tear. And again, it had similar miles to this. Both the Land Cruisers we bought with about 13,000 miles on the odometer. And then the other one had that funky smell and all that. This one doesn't. And so this is kind of like a roundabout way of me saying that we're going to keep this Land Cruiser. Again, if there were more problems with it, and if this wire situation was worse, where there was corrosion, there was rust up there, then I would, be more on the side of getting rid of it, replacing it with something. But the rest of the car is great, and it looks like it was just a disconnected wire, right? Just had to be resoldered, pretty simple fix, and I don't think we're gonna have a problem in the future. And so again, I don't see the point in getting rid of it, because it's a really good vehicle. And so I think that we just had a bad apple with the other one, and this other one is gonna be similar to the experience that a lot of you that own Land Cruisers that have commented on the channel have had, where it's probably going to be flawless for the rest of our ownership. We're going to be able to put tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of miles, hopefully, on the odometer, and we are not going to have any issues. And so this does kind of bring us to a close with the vehicle search, at least with replacing that car, because we're not going to replace it. But I do have some updates for that Land Cruiser that's I think are somewhat important for the channel. You guys saw obviously that the Land Cruiser is bright green. That is colored paint protection film. It's a new product that I wanted to try out on the vehicle, and that's the vehicle that we tried it out on. We also had it on the other Land Cruiser. I absolutely hate the product. It's just not good whatsoever. It's basically the worst of both worlds, because it is obviously paint protection film, so it's thicker than vinyl. It's supposed to provide a little bit more protection than vinyl, but it adheres to the car even worse than vinyl. And then on top of that, it is good with the protection, but I've already noticed that, I don't know, it hasn't held up as good. So it's like, it's not as good at protecting as paint protection film. So it seems like it looks worse than when you wrap a car with vinyl, which again, over time, vinyl wraps just always seem to peel up, depending on how well they're put together. And then it just doesn't provide the protection of paint protection film. So my plan is not anytime soon, probably in the next, 6, maybe 12 months. I'm gonna rock this green for a little bit longer. I am gonna put just regular paint protection film all over the car. And so when we do that, that'll give us a chance to take a more in-depth look at the rest of the Land Cruiser and see if there's anything else that's weird about the car. Because whenever you take either PPF or vinyl off, you might have to take a few things off the car, and so you have a chance to look kind of under the hood, as they say, or more so, right, at the vehicle. And so that's what's going to be happening with that Land Cruiser. Again, not going to happen anytime soon. I've got way too much going on right now to do that. So yeah, the search is over when it comes to that vehicle, because we're going to keep that Land Cruiser. Like I said in the previous video with the Wrangler, I'm going to sit on that for quite some time, so I still haven't decided what I'm going to do with that. But considering the fact that this vehicle is going to stay, that does kind of change how I feel about the rest of this vehicle situation. So I don't know. I'm going to chew on it. Let me know what you guys think about this whole situation, and hopefully this is the end of the Land Cruiser breaking saga. Hopefully. I'll see ya.